A look at a new report from the Regional Australia Institute. Its Chief Executive, Liz Ritchie, is with me in the studio. Liz, thanks for your time. This report you've released this week on rebalancing the nation, essentially you're saying that there needs to be more people living in the regions. Can you explain to our viewers what the point is there?
Yeah, thank you. Great to be with you. Look, currently as a nation, we are on a trajectory to be a nation of megacities. And so what we've sought to do within this report that we've launched today, the Regionalisation Ambition 2032, is to start to rebalance the nation. We've brought forward a framework that brings together the key elements of regional Australia. So within there, we've got, 5 key pillars, but population is a key pillar.
It does seem population drives a lot of the other things you're pushing for. If you look at that, you're hoping to have 11 million living in the regions by the end of the decade. That's compared to 9.5 million today. So that's quite a bit of growth. Is it achievable?
Yeah, look, we think it is achievable because if we look at past population forecasts, they tend to be out of step. So the current trajectory would see us at 10.5 million. We've stretched an additional 500,000 because we think it is achievable. But we've also done the economic modelling, which tells us that at 11 million, we see the economic uplift. We see GDP increase by almost 14 million. So what's good for our regions, as we like to say, is good for the nation.
And a few of the other targets you're setting, it's not just the population target, but something like boosting rental vacancy. That's crucial because if you want people to move there, they've got to have places to live.
Absolutely, yeah. We cannot solve our jobs and skills issues without solving housing. We cannot solve our education issues without solving the jobs and skills. This is why this framework is so important. It is a national first to have a holistic and integrated framework to look at it in a bipartisan, long-term way.
Is there a bit of two nations in a way where you've got that higher education qualifications and so on in the cities versus the bush? Do you need to boost the high school graduation numbers, for example?
We do. And actually there's targets in there to actually try to, close that divide. So we do see that across our regions, we don't have the level of high school attainment that we see in Metro. And so part of the target is trying to level that, but also post-school education as well, because we know that education is going to be fundamental to having the future skills that we need to see in the regions.
Some of the issues here do appear to be structural. How do you change that? How do you change the approach to get more people investing, more people living?
Yeah, look,
studying in the bush.
Absolutely. This is why, again, we've tried to bring together quite a different design in this process. For a long time, the ask has been entirely on government. But what we're saying is that this needs to be shoulder to shoulder with government, with industry, with regional communities. We can't force population growth on regional communities. Regions have to want to grow, and we're really clear in saying this today. Not all regions want to grow. So we have to really consider all of the dimensions that sit within this framework.
There has been a demand already, though, hasn't there, off the back of the COVID pandemic?
Yes.
An increase in the number of sea changes and tree changes.
There absolutely has been. So I guess, that trend was already in place, and I think that wasn't well understood, that even pre-COVID we had net gain to regions. But since COVID, we've absolutely seen a fast tracking of that regional movement as work has changed and people have stopped and reflected about the kind of life they want to live.
But as you said quite rightly, if we just finish on that point, you also need the services, things like childcare. And this report, I know, goes into the childcare deserts in some parts of the country, and you can't get people into the workforce if that's the case.
Yeah, and that's why we need the people. So we're actually looking at doing some deep dive studies out in Western Queensland to take a deeper look at some of the childcare barriers and try to bring forward some of the solutions. But ultimately, we will need more people to service the population growth that we know is coming.
Rebalance the nation. Interesting analysis by the Regional Australia Institute. Liz Ritchie, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.